guys, and welcome to day 14 in my countdown to The Walking Dead. So today I am going to start my list of 100 best moments of The Walking Dead so far from seasons 1 through 6. So basically these, I'm going to do 20 at a time. Until I get to number 1. They are not going to be one right after the other. They're going to be kind of sporadic through my countdown days, but I will do all of the moments by the time The Walking Dead premieres. So this might be kind of a long video. Let's get started. So number 100 on the list might be a little obscure for some of you guys, but that is the 3 questions, kind of when it first gets said between Rick and Clara. Why I love this moment so much is I think it sets up season 4 so well. It doesn't seem like that important of a moment when he asks her and he sees her and she's just so, you know, absolutely so far gone, that it kind of sets up what's going to happen to all of the characters by the end of season 4. And it's great when you go back and watch that and kind of see that moment for the first time of this just pure desperation in this woman. Kudos to the actress. She did a phenomenal job. Number 99 on the list is Beth and Noah's escape from the hospital. I mean, Beth didn't make it, but I thought the whole hospital storyline was, I mean, it was okay. It was a little weak. I really liked Beth. I know a lot of people didn't like Beth. She was actually one of my favorites of the entire show. I liked this moment because you saw these 2 people who are supposedly super, super weak really kind of step up. And I think my favorite moment is when Noah actually gets away and Beth is tackled to the ground and she's actually smiling at the end of it all. You know, like she's so happy that he got away. I think that kind of is a testament to who Beth really is, kind of always trying to help people. I mean, she's Herschel's daughter after all. Number 98 is a very, very brief moment, but an awesome one nonetheless, in the battle scene in Too Far Gone, when Tyrese is pinned down and Lizzie and Micah come to the rescue for him. It was just, I don't know, in a sea of epic moments in that whole battle scene, that moment just was one of my absolute favorites. It maybe leads to not so great things that Lizzie is such a great shot and getting more used to killing. However, that scene was awesome, and the fact that they saved Tyrese's life was amazing. Number 97 on the list is probably the scene where we all, like, all of the women of the world fainted or something, and that is when Daryl holds Judith, but little ass kicker for the first time, where he, you know, Rick has some issues after Lori's death. Understandably so. I loved that the rest of the group, specifically Maggie and Daryl, kind of stepped up right after that. He went to go get the formula, and they made sure that they took care of little ass kicker while Rick was, you know, having some issues. And it was just so nice to see all of them talk about what her name could be, and he kind of coined the term little ass kicker. It was cute. Number 96 on this list is from the last season, when it was a big kind of brawl sort of thing between Morgan and Carol. Obviously they were on complete opposite sides of the spectrum at this point in the season, and we kind of knew there was going to be some confrontation, but this confrontation was crazy. I liked a lot of things about the moment. I liked that eventually, in the end, Morgan did overpower Carol. I feel like it would have been, though I was more Team Carol, I think it would have been a little weird if, like, somebody who was really trained in fighting didn't kind of come out on top in that moment. But it was just such a great moment, filled with tension, and it ended horribly when the wolf eventually took Denise, but still an amazing moment. Number 95 on the list is actually kind of one of the more sentimental moments of The Walking Dead that I feel like a lot of people overlook, but to me, I really like this episode, and it is when Bob, Sasha, and Maggie decide to stick together at the end of episode 13 of season 4, Alone. The whole episode, you see that Bob has always ended up alone, and you can kind of see that he's clinging onto that hope, and he's actually kind of happy that he's not alone anymore. And I thought the moment where they kind of convince Sasha, in a sense, or Maggie convinces Sasha that there should still be hope, and them all kind of joining together is just really, really a beautiful moment, and few and far between in this series. Number 94 on the list is not a very beautiful moment. It is way back in season 1 where Daryl finds Merle's hand. This scene kind of just shows how good of an actor Norman Reedus is, but it also, I mean, just to see the lengths that Merle had to go to by being chained up on that roof. I liked that they didn't have a ton of loose ends when it came to that, and he didn't just disappear. We kind of, through that moment, got to see the horrible thing that Merle had to do to himself in order to survive, which also kind of reminds us that he's kind of a force to be reckoned with. But Daryl's screams when he sees what his brother had to do was just heart-wrenching. Number 93 on the list is a fairly recent moment, and that is when Carol kills those guys on the road. This scene really brought to life such a great struggle within Carol. You know, she doesn't want to kill, and she actually leaves so she doesn't have to kill, but circumstances have it that, you know, that's kind of not an option in this situation. And the fact that you could see her struggle with the fact that she really didn't want to kill them, but also she's a boss-ass bitch and she did what she needed to do. Number 92 on the list is back in season 2 when Dave and Tony come into the bar. You know, 2 men walk into a bar and Rick just shot him. Like, this was, I think, oh God, I should have fact checked, but I think it was one of the first lives that, if not the first lives that Rick took in hour after the apocalypse started. You know, these guys just seemed like they were not good, and I liked that Rick was actually there with Glenn and Herschel, who are 2 pretty big moral centers of the group, but they were even like, I don't know about these guys, you know, and Rick just shot them on sight. And it kind of was just a little like tidbit into the fact that like there's a lot of not so great people here. We need to watch out. Number 91 on the list is the phone call. So this lasted 1 episode in the show. It lasted for a much longer time in the comics, if you're not aware. But I did like that they did it in 1 episode, and we kind of just saw Rick deteriorating a bit for this 1 episode, and them bringing the actors back of people who have passed, Jim and Amy. I'm trying to think. Well, I know it ends with Lori. I'm trying to think if there was another person. Let me know in the comments. But it was just such a. I thought it was great that they confined it to just 1 episode. I liked how they had Herschel come and talk to him throughout the whole ordeal, and we're actually seeing someone who just suffered a tremendous loss trying to cope in any way that they can. Number 90 on the list is the moment when Shane shoots Otis. Oh my God. This scene kind of sealed the deal for a lot of people of not really liking Shane that much, but it also sealed the deal of him being an awesome bad guy villain. You know, some people would probably not call him a villain. I think that, you know, that scene really kind of brought to the forefront, wow, he's going to do anything to survive. Now, you know, you can also say in his defense, if he didn't do that, it's possible Carl would have never survived because he wouldn't have made it, and, you know, kind of the rippling effect of that. but nonetheless, it was a shocking and great moment. Number 89 on the list is the kind of Keystone Cops moment with Rick and Daryl trying to wrangle up Jesus. The whole episode is just so great and such a great time. It's just a great episode to watch. But that episode, or that scene in general, where, you know, Daryl's like running after, like trying to, like, it looks like they're playing tag or something, and then the truck just goes straight on into the water. It's hilarious, which is something that we don't see a whole lot on The Walking Dead. Number 88 on the list is actually kind of, I think some people would say, a weird moment to include. I think it was so symbolic that while I didn't love it, but it is when Rick shaved his beard once getting into Alexandria. You know, I was a fan of the Rick beard. I was a fan of Crazy Rick with the crazy beard. But I guess, you know, Rick doesn't entirely need a beard to look crazy.
You want to kick me out?
Anyway, I just think that that whole thing is just a great symbolic moment that he's trying to leave all of the they went through, the terminus and the hospital and being on the road and behind, and hopefully starting anew, but obviously that just means a whole lot of new problems in this show. Number 87 on the list is in the season 5 premiere episode. A lot of moments are probably going to make it into this top 100 from that episode, but this one is when Tyrese saved Judith. This is like one of those moments where you can just see how much of a force Tyrese really is when he wants to be. You know, Tyrese was kind of one of the more gentler characters in the show, but man, can he just like killed all his walkers with his bare hand, and he comes in and just slams that guy on the ground for, you know, to save Judith's life. And it was just such a great moment that I think does get a little bit overshadowed by all of the other epic moments of that episode, but still, it needs to be on this list. Number 86 on the list is at the end of the 3rd season, where the governor straight up kills his people and his army. It's just, you know, I do like how they portrayed the governor in the show, and he had this charm, and he was really not really leading by fear like he did in the comics, but this just like squashed it, and it was just a crazy, crazy moment where you just see him literally lose it. David Morrissey, you are an amazing actor. Oh, that scene freaks me out every time I watch it. Number 85 is sadly when we lose Eastman. I actually really liked the Morgan episode. There was quite a few people that didn't like it in the last season. I thought it was really, really great, and a big portion of that is Eastman's character, and also Tabitha, shout out, love her. But, and the fact that his story was so heartbreaking, and the fact that he really did take Morgan out of that kind of really crappy place, it was just so tragic when Eastman didn't make it. I really think I would have loved it if Morgan and Eastman both came to Alexandria together, and yeah, it was just really kind of a really tragic moment, and you felt so much even though he was literally in one episode. It's crazy. Number 84 on the list is the ending to the mid-season finale of season 3, and that is the Merle versus Daryl Thunderdome setup. It turned out that they didn't have to fight each other to the death, but it still was an epic moment where you kind of realize, like, oh, the governor knows what he's doing, setting up these brothers, and God, the people of Woodbury are like insanely, is this harsh, stupid? I mean, and just the fact that as soon as Andrea saw Daryl there, she was like, what the fuck is going on? And it was just such a great moment that set up the second part of the season. Number 83 on the list is actually a scene that I personally don't like watching all that much, but it is when at the end of episode 9 of season 4, where Carl almost shoots Rick because he thinks he's a walker. Chandler Riggs, you are amazing. For the majority of Carl's storyline, I was not a big fan of him. There was a lot of moments in that particular episode that I'm talking about that I really wasn't a fan of him. But God, that performance at the end of the episode was insane, where he just really, this is when he realizes that he can't kill his father. You know, he has so much anger towards his father, but he can't bring himself to shoot his father as a walker. You know, not like shoot his father, but it's just, it's such a great moment where you kind of see this child, he's still a child, having to, you know, step up to the plate and maybe not being able to do that and realize that he kind of does need his father around. Number 82 on the list is, I think, one of Lauren Cohan's best performances, and that is when she goes onto the bus to see if Glenn is on it. Now, when we're watching it, most of us are pretty positive that it's not Glenn on the bus, but man, did they find a look-alike walker, like, I mean, really. But because, you know, we saw him in the promos for the rest of the season, all this stuff, and, you know, whatever. But still, I feel like Lauren Cohan's performance really brought us to that moment and really made us all kind of feel really, really bad for Maggie, who is desperately trying to find Glenn and desperately trying to see if she can actually, you know, move on without him, or what is going to happen. You see all these emotions going through her as she's seeing if this walker is actually Glenn on that bus, and it's really, really heartbreaking. And number 81 on the list is at the end of the premiere. To me, I love it, you know, as a comic book fan watching it the first time, or as just a, you know, whenever you go back and watch this episode, and that is at the end where Glenn talks to Rick on the walkie, and he says, when he's like, yeah, you in the tank, cozy in there, I love it. You're like, it's Glenn, and you're so excited. And I just think the whole tank scene is pretty insane. I try not to think about the horse dying before that, but it kind of just brings us into the new chapter. You know, I really do think that the pilot is such a strong first episode, but it really is bringing into the new chapter that this show really is about a bunch of characters, not just Rick. And Glenn being that first one is amazing. If you guys don't know, they're my two favorites. So yeah. So that was the first 20 moments in my 100 best moments of The Walking Dead. Stay tuned to this countdown if you want to see more moments. This was actually like a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. There were so many moments that didn't make the cut that I really wanted to. It was so hard to decide. Like, there's so many moments on the show that I could probably do in 100 moments of every season, and they would still all be great moments. Oh my God. But thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you tomorrow.